Hello everyone, I am doing a Friday recap. Hope everybody had a great day trading Friday. We had an amazing day in our group. I think some did very well, and I believe some continued trading and possibly got caught up in the garbage all day, and that is something I think people need to try to work on. I traded a couple more times when I probably shouldn't have because I was really done off my second trade. So I'll go over real quick what I was looking at on Friday morning. Right out of the gates, I had ARM, and I had already called out ARM a couple times above 158. That was a this 159.67 was put in after, but the 158 was a significant level for me that I had already marked off on my charts, and I provided that in my technical analysis channel as well for the group, so they can also mark up theirs, or at least they can come up with their own levels for sure. But so I took calls right out of the gates as soon as the market opened. I tend to not do that, and this is why. This is what actually happened to me. So I took 6, and I actually sold 4 right here. When this candle opened here and started going up, I bought back in 4, but then it immediately came down. So I actually ended up catching it up here. It came way down, and I decided to hop out on this big push down. And I should have held, but when I take breakout trades, that is my rule, so I stuck to my rule. I ended in a loss on this trade, actually. Even though I took profit here, I ended in a pretty decent loss. I can't remember how much. I think I was down like 400 or 5, maybe around $400 on this big drop down, and I got out. Granted, my overall rule is I'd say my overall trading rule is to not get out unless I have 2 consecutive closes below my 20. Well, I kind of trump that rule when I take breakout moves right out of the gate, because you just never know when this is going to just go. So because it went down here, I got out before I gave it a chance to wick back up. If I had given it a chance, I would have held this and then maybe added back in here. So interestingly enough, I was watching some other stocks. I believe I got in. I can't remember what it was, but I'll go and go to that in a minute. But here's where having some conviction in maybe the upside move, I did take a loss, but I got out. It was a pretty significant loss for me. It was a 400 or so loss. But what makes this trading strategy so good is I actually got back in on the calls. I was waiting to see if this was going to pivot and go down. But when I saw this pull back and I got this candle here, I got in 6 again. I think I got in lower as it was pushing. Anyhow, it was a pretty awesome trade that I got into. I got in, I held. It may have been sooner, actually. It may have been on this candle. After this candle went up, I think I got back in. I got in like 6. I sold like 2 or 4 here. It came back down. I added 10. I held. This time I held my ground and I stayed in. I added 2 more on this push above this candle. I don't recall how many more I had, but I wiped out the $400 loss and ended up with a I can't remember the total amount, but anyway, it was a very significant trade. I could have stopped trading. I think it was right at $1,000 is what I ended up with when I finally got out of this trade. And so I got out of that trade. I basically said, "Hey guys, I'm done." But I did trade a couple more times. I did get into an SPX trade. I used SPY to trade SPX. This was not an A plus setup, so I should never have got in the trade. At the time, sometimes it's hard, right? Because when you're in the middle of trading, you're not seeing the big picture, but you're really on a micro level. So of course, looking at it let me try to find where I got in. I think it was. Hmm, well, I am trying to figure out where I got in. I believe when I crossed over the 20 and the 200, I think I got in my SPX trade here. I believe this was it. I did take profit on the push to my 540.55. But then when it pulled back up, I added. Now, granted, this didn't happen all at one time. So when this went up and started coming down, I added. I told the group, hey, I'm adding on this wick down because it came and closed down. So I took puts. I added on this. I was at a, even though I took about $100 or $200, $150 profit out off the table. I took it. I scaled out here from this push. Interestingly enough, when I went back up here, I was already down like another 300 again. So I just held this and held it, and I went down. It didn't get above my 20. This was quite a loss for some people. I know that unfortunately a couple guys in the group, they got out on this candle for a loss, and I can understand why, because you don't want to really risk another big move up, especially if you're trading SPX, because it can really drain, wipe your account. But for me, I had conviction of the 20 and the 200, and until I believe I called out, hey, unless this gets above the 20 and has two closes above the 20, I'm staying in. So I stayed in. I got this drop. I added again up here. I think I got it like around in here. I added again. It went down, and I ended my day about. I ended my day even with some of my other. I guess I got some smaller. I ended the day with about a 1930 or something. I can't remember exact, but $1,900 profit on the day. Really, with three trades. Um, Actually, a few more trades that I took, but the total overall was like 1900 and something is what I ended my day on. But looking at this chart, in reality, I mean, this was not the best trade for me to have taken, simply because I was trading back into the 540.55. Um, that's a level that I put down, and it appears. I mean, you can see it actually had some resistance. I think it was on a lower time frame that I marked this off as something to kind of pay attention to. But so it wasn't considered in my eyes a major level, but it was still something I traded into, and that is not an A plus setup for me. I really want to my setups. I want them to be trading either moving away from a major level or coming up and pivoting off of a major level. Of course, I wouldn't take this here because I want to be above the 200. This is where I would have taken my trade exactly right here on this. I would have added in on this push and wick back up off the 20, and then I would have scaled out at the LRC. And if you guys pay attention to this LRC, it's money. It's absolutely amazing. There's two ways to use SPY on the LRC. You can use it on the original, which is the um, excuse me, I just ate some pineapple and my throat is like scratchy. So the original, the LRC version 2 is set at 4 o'clock to 9:29. But if you set this to 1 o'clock, it really works as well, because you'll notice that SPY from 1 o'clock is when SPY actually starts, and so, same with the futures. You can look at the difference in how it changed it. So the original was definitely much better, but you can actually use it with the 1 o'clock too. I have considered using both, just doing two of these and just kind of seeing, but it may just get to have too many lines. So anyway, if I go back to my original 4 a.m. to 9:29, you can just see how amazing this thing is. It just shows you most every pivot. This one is, and I'll go over that too. I think this has become very important in my trading. Even with this strategy, it's just adding another element of information, right? So what I've been doing is I have been going to the 1 hour and the 4 hour time frame, and I've been drawing the same linear regression tool that I use for my day trading. I draw it manually, and I'm drawing it manually. You have to adjust it some to get confirmation of pivots. But once you get a trend that shows where it's pivoting, you can rest assured that once it gets to these levels, you can either look for a rejection or a break and a possible retest. They become pretty significant levels. Look right here. If you were to take this, and we are as a group potentially using this as a swing trading idea going forward, and we're going to put in swing trade. We have a swing trade channel that we're going to eventually start, and I hope the group starts. Doing the community. I hope they also join in and start putting in their ideas, and we can come up with maybe some really good swing trades that we can all trade together. I mean, we don't have to trade together, but at least put in the ideas, right? And Unheard Sheep, who's a part of the group, shout out to him. He put in another indicator that kind of helps on the larger time frame. It's he put in Keltner channels, or just said, hey, try these Keltner channels out. And interestingly enough, is the Keltner channels did show in conjunction with this on the 1 hour time frame. It showed that once the price went down into the Keltner channel and then came out, it was almost right in line with the rejection of the with this deviation, which this is the one deviation. That's 1.5 is the gray, and this is 2. So we notice that it's just another kind of like a confirmation of, okay, get ready. It's went down into, how the Keltner channel works, and it went down into the Keltner channel, and as it starts coming out of it, this is what would happen. Same thing here. This went up into the Keltner channel. So it's just something, if you want to put that on your chart and try it, you'll notice that it actually coincides. So it's kind of just an extra added, confirmation that, hey, this could be a good trade. And I say could because we don't ever know. Nothing that I'm showing here is absolute, and that's how you have to be as a trader, right? You can't come in here thinking you're going to get some indicator that's going to show you what's going to happen. That is not ever going to work. You're going to lose your money every time you attempt to rely on an indicator. What you need to rely on is your eyes, what you see. Price action. Price action is everything. You can use indicators to use as a guide. You can use indicators to say, hey, we're trending up. But the interesting thing is, like right here, you're above the 200, right? You're trending up. That would tell you you're trending up. Guess what? Now you're not trending up. Well, guess what? Now you are trending up. You see what I mean? These are lagging indicators. So as soon as price crosses over, you can go back in hindsight everything and go, oh man, this is perfect. But guess what? Right here, this could have failed and went all the way down. But it didn't, but it could have. And then all of this would have changed. So pay attention to what you see. For instance, how this played out right here. This candle gives you absolute confirmation along with these two, and I'll explain why. As you see this, it approaches the 20, right? Look at this wick up off the 20. This one comes down, it looks a little stronger. Well, now you get a red candle and you're like, okay, this is red, but watch what happens. Buys back up right at where this opened, this closed perfectly. Guess what? Now you've got like a 3 tweezer right here. Boom, straight up. As soon as you get that, I guess, can you call it a tweezer? Would be that be like a trizer? I don't know. Anyway, look at this wick off of the 529, off of the 20 EMA. Boom. That's what you need to pay attention to, not all the other garbage. Indicators are going to cost you to lose money. That's just the way it is. I haven't found one person that trades all these magic indicators and trades them successfully over time. I, for one, have not. I cannot. I've tried it. I've tried for a number of years now, and I end up going backwards in my account. Even though I would win, I'd lose. I win, I lose. I tend to lose more then I would win as far as monetarily over time. Although sometimes it feels good, right? You feel like you're on this nice little, you have a good pattern going, or a good trade idea concept, and you're using this indicator and you're winning, but you're pecking out these little wins and it feels good. But then you have this loss that's huge, and you're like, well, dang, that just wiped out all my wins I had. What makes this strategy amazing, guys, is risk reward. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the 2 minute, and I use it on the 2 minute. You can use it on the 5 minute, but I think you may have to adjust some things, and that's up to you. I'm not going to go through trying to figure out what would work best on a 5 minute. I trade the 2 minute, and I like the 2 minute, and I like it for several reasons. I will explain a couple of them here. One is, I know that when I get my close on a 2 minute over my level, that's my entry. The problem with a 5 minute sometimes is, by the time you get your close, you're already missing a majority of the move, especially in a market that's not trending like long ways, and so you're not really going to get much of a gain. There are some times where the five, now I do always watch a 5 minute chart, so I have 5 minute charts up on my other monitors, so I can just see. I like to see the price action of a 5 minute candle, and I like to see the I want to see, like, if we're in a trend, I want to see the 5 minute candles continually moving up, right? And so this is a 5 minute, and if you notice, it would have been a viable trade. The only good trade on this would have been right here. That would not have been a bad scalp, or a bad scalp, or profit at all right here. But the big issue with 5 minute is, if you're waiting for the 5 minutes to close, look at this. Now you're in a okay, you lost more than half of what you would have gained, or more than double than what you would have gained. So I'm not negating 5 minute has its place. It's huge. I think the majority of traders trade with the 5 minute, but I use it for more of a confirmation of trend, but not for entries. I think 2 minute is really the key, or it has been for me. 1 minutes, no. I've tried 1 minute with this strategy, and I've tried it in the past, and the 1 minute will just shake you out. You get the so many false candles that you think, oh, now I got a hammer candle, it's coming down. Nope. Then the next candle's a green candle above that candle, and you're just like, what's going on? That's what happens to me on the 1 minute. So I like the 2 minute. 2 minute just gives me a better confirmation. You use what you want to use, and this system works. And I just will. I'm going to finish with this. If you guys want to come and trade with us on this with this strategy. We've been trading it extremely successful in the group. I will be privatizing my Discord probably sometime either next week or the week after. And the reason for that is I'm just getting inundated by scammers and stuff like that. So I think it's time to just make it private, and the people that are serious and want to come in and trade as a really as a community together, those are the people I want to to associate with and try to help and everyone help each other. So I hope that some of the guys will stay on, but I think it's just something I need to do because it's kind of getting ridiculous. With the scammers and the hackers, so that way at least I can keep, I think, a majority of that mess out. Not to mention, it's a good community, and this strategy is incredible. And we actually have people combining the strategy with other things too, and that just makes it awesome. So anyhow, I hope to see you in the Discord. You can come on in, join us, hang out, watch what we do. We do have some people, new people, they just come in and watch and listen as we call out the trades that we see and the trades that we're getting in. And no means do I want to give out or try to advise anybody in any way of what trades to take. I'm just telling you what I'm getting in, if you want to, you get in your own trades, and that's another thing I love about the group so far is we have just some very mature independent traders. I'll be in one thing and I'll notice a couple guys will pop in their trades, and they've traded other instruments and with the same strategy, and they're just tearing it up, and it's really awesome to see. So I just hope you guys can come in and or you do come in and give it a shot, and at least I'd say paper trade mentally, and yeah, and just watch how good this system really is. It is absolutely, it's incredible. It's the best system I've ever used, hands down. Gives us the best entries, the best exits. It gives us a heads up when we may be getting a pivot. So I hope you guys come and join us. I know I got really long-winded with that, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. And for all you fathers out there, I have 4 kids myself, but for all you fathers out there, I hope you guys have a wonderful Father's Day, and stay safe, and I will see you guys on Monday.